Hello, welcome to the Dreamers Podcast. I'm your host, Anne-Lyse, and I'm excited that you decided to tune in for today's episode of the podcast with Annalisa Abell. Annalisa is a business coach, a six-figure agency owner. She is the founder and owner of Elevated Assist, a virtual assistant and social media management agency that helps busy business owners elevate their lives. Annalisa does all of that while having a full-time job. So today we're going to talk about how to earn six figures as a side hustle while continuing to work your full-time job. Here is Annalisa Abell. Annalisa, welcome to the Dreamers Podcast.
Hi.
Can you tell the Dreamers a little bit about you and what you do?
Yes, I do a number of things, mostly known within the virtual assistant space. I'm a virtual assistant coach. I teach people how to make 4 to 5 figures a month as a virtual assistant from the comfort of their own homes. I also am the CEO and owner of Elevated Assist, which is a virtual assistant agency. We work with small business owners across the world and provide them with virtual assistants and help elevate their business to new levels. And yeah, I love what I do. I love inspiring people to just create options in their life and just do more to be able to monetize their skill set.
For people who might not know what a virtual assistant is, do you mind explaining what it is?
Yes. So I would say a virtual assistant is similar to a personal assistant or even an executive assistant, but you're working remotely. So generally, if you're a virtual assistant, your clients or the people that are paying you are small business owners. So a virtual assistant, you can be doing admin tasks, small secretarial duties, but you're working from the comfort of your own home or anywhere you want to, but you're just not exclusive to a certain office or really on 24/7 call like a personal assistant.
And you said we could do that and earn 4 or 5 figures as a side hustle, right? So I'm sure people are intrigued. But
Yes.
Before we get into it, though, I would love to go back and if you could tell me more about your upbringing, where did you grow up? What was your experience with money growing up?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky. I'm currently located in Dallas, Kentucky. I would say that I didn't grow up thinking about starting a business, being an entrepreneur. That's very, very new to me. But if I was really sit back and reflect, I feel like I've always had an entrepreneur mindset by thinking like, oh, I wonder how this is profitable or how you can make money from this. Or that's a really good idea. I understand why people make money from this. And just being able to tap into things that way. I'll be honest, and I always tell people that I knew I was always going to make a lot of money. It didn't make sense to me that we have all these resources. We have the internet and we can take the knowledge from the internet, we can read books, and we can just execute and do what other people have done. So I always knew that I would be in a position that I was fairly well off, no matter if I was starting a business, I was going to just slowly grow within the corporate ranks, just because I study a lot and I literally have researched people to see how do they gain their wealth, and just learning that most people gain their wealth either through real estate or starting a business really ignited something in me. Probably like in 2019, I was on my journey to pay off my debt, which I didn't have a lot of debt, but I just wanted to get rid of it. And then from there, after researching how people gain their wealth, they talked about starting a business. At this point, I had already invested in real estate. I was already invested in the stock market, and I still had my 9 to 5. And I was just like, what is something that I can do that can help take my financial journey to the next level? And the virtual assistant space just dropped into my lap. I started it as a side hustle. I was only making $1,000 a month with one client. And then I quickly knew that, okay, if I get more clients, it's an opportunity for me to make some really, really good money. So when I tell people you can make 4 to 5 figures a month, I say that because I've been able to do that. And I don't think I'm any different than anyone else. It's just executing and being consistent on the knowledge that's available to you.
And you do that while you have a 9 to 5.
While I still have a 9 to 5. And I always tell people that when they ask me, can they do it with a 9 to 5? And I'm just like, you can. It obviously depends on what type of 9 to 5 you have. But also you have to figure out how bad do you want it. I think a lot of times people look at my results and say, oh, she gets a 9 to 5 income and then you get your virtual assistant business income. But I also put in the work to do that. So yeah, I will be working in the morning for my clients, working in the evening, but being able to reap the reward, it made sense to me. It was a deal breaker.
How did you decide that you wanted to start? I mean, obviously today you own an agency, but to start being a virtual assistant?
Yeah, so actually, probably about 2 years ago, I was going on Instagram Live pretty regularly. I had a very small following. And after my debt-free journey, I had a friend that said, you should really talk about finance a little bit more and tell people how they can pay off their debt. So I began to go on live regularly with different entrepreneurs to talk about their financial journeys and starting a business. During that time, I was able to build different connections, and one of my followers reached out and said, hey, do you do any admin services by chance? At this time, I had not advertised that I was a virtual assistant. I didn't even know what a virtual assistant was. But from that question, I was just like, oh, it's like a light bulb in my head. This sounds like an additional stream of income. So I was just like, okay, let's see how it goes. He paid me up front before I did any work. At that moment, I was just like, okay, the money's up front. I'm already paid. Let me do the work. And the work was so simple because it was work I've done before. It was work I had already done with my 9-to-5. I mean, it was work I can technically do from my phone and still make extra $1,000 and extra $2,000 a month working for clients. So it was a no-brainer for me to be able to figure out, how can I scale this business? And then I realized that most entrepreneurs either have a virtual assistant or they're looking for a virtual assistant.
You were featured in Business Insider for earning 6 figures as a virtual assistant, which is your side hustle, while you also work a full-time job. When you made your first 6 figures, how many hours a week were you putting in towards your business?
Oh, that's a good question. The funny thing is that I hadn't realized that I had made 6 figures. And so I just ran my report. I was just like, oh, I wonder how much money I'm already making in my virtual assistant business. When you have different streams of income, at some point it's just depositing in your account. And you're just like, oh, this is great. So after I had got to like 6 or 7 clients, I had brought someone onto my team because I was just like, this is growing way bigger than I ever expected it. We would divvy up the work. So for me, I probably had 3 clients that I was working with. And then the other person was working with other clients on my team with my 9-to-5. And it varies. It depends on what package they're in. And even if a client has a certain amount of hours set for a package, I was able to get things done really quickly from my phone. So even though they agreed upon a certain package, sometimes I would be working 10 hours, 15 hours a week. Sometimes I would only be working a few hours a week because I was able to be consistent and I'm able to get things done and put out those fires very, very quickly. I would say for people with the 9-to-5, it will be tricky to do a little bit more than 3 clients. If you don't have a 9-to-5, more than about 5 or 6, you might want to bring someone on just to be able to assist so you can provide the best customer service for your clients.
On average, how many hours do clients need?
So most of my clients are on the basic package, which is 10 hours a week. Generally, I don't offer anything less than 10 hours a week. I think if you only need like 5 hours a week, 2 hours a week, then you might just want to improve your systems and figure out how you can automate something in your business without bringing an extra individual on. So we don't generally do anything less than 10 hours a week. I do have clients that they utilize as a lot more, so it looks a little bit differently.
Got it. And so you did that, you figured out the code, and then you started teaching others how to become virtual assistants as well.
Yes. Well, one of my first clients was like, this is my best virtual assistant experience. Have you ever considered coming out with a course about being a virtual assistant? And I'm just like, who would want to know that? It was very weird for me to think because I had came out with the debt-free course and I'm like, of course people want to pay off debt. No, people don't want to pay off debt. They want to make more money. So I did a pre-sale for my virtual assistant course. And before I actually created the course, I had already made $10,000. Wow. So I was just like, maybe people do want to learn how to become a virtual assistant. After the pre-sale, I did the live classes and then I've been selling the recording ever since and just adding more content. I built a community around it. I have over 3,000 people in my community. And I really want to inspire people to just take the reins of their life and just execute on things that they do well and monetize it.
Love it. I think people are probably listening or watching and thinking, okay, so at this point, you've built your side business to multiple 6 figures. So she has a multiple 6-figure side hustle. It looks like she's investing in other areas, but she still has a full-time job. I would love for you to talk about why you still have a full-time job.
Absolutely. I had a viral post on TikTok because people felt some type of way because I was just like, $100,000 is great. I'm not going to knock that $100,000 is not a lot of money because a lot of people, the average salary in the US is like $52,000. So I would say that $100,000 or $200,000 or even $300,000 is simply just not enough for what I actually want to do. I think people assume that when people want to make $1 million or be a multimillionaire, they assume that they just want to buy material things. No, me, I'm striving to be able to not only set myself up, but also set my family up. And I always tell people, once you hit $100,000, you'll realize that it's nice to have, but it's not that much money. Once you hit $2,000, it's nice to have, but it's not that much money. We know within this society, it takes money to actually do things. So as my income grows, I'm just using the money as a vehicle to put into real estate to make me more money, to put in other business ideas. Virtual assistant is just one business for me. I have multiple ideas that I would like to execute on that will create more passive income for me. So that is the ultimate goal. I still have my 9 to 5 because it's my investor. It helps me invest into other things that make me more money.
Love it. Because there's this message out there that, at least on social media, everybody should be a full-time entrepreneur. And if you're having 9 to 5, you're not doing it right. So I think it's very important to have voices like yours who say, hey, you can actually leverage this to work towards your goals. And it's okay to have a 9 to 5. I'm curious, though, to hear if you have a number in mind when it would make sense for you to just focus on your entrepreneurial ventures.
I talk to my friends about this all the time because they're just like me. That number always moves. It literally, I reach the goal and I'm just like, okay, let's have another number. So it's hard to say that I have an actual number in mind. It's just certain things I would like to accomplish before I say, I'm not going to do my 9 to 5. The reason I do both is because literally I can do both. And I know some people are in a position where they can do both. And then also my business, Elevated Assist, is still fairly new. It's still a fairly new business. I would like to see more people put some years into their business before they immediately say, let me quit my 9 to 5. Let's go through some challenges. Let's go through a pandemic. Let's go through a recession to see how strong our business is. My overall goal, and I shared this on multiple podcasts, is to put my business in a position where I'm able to sell it. It's not there yet. So I'm constantly adding, investing in different ideas and different things to put myself in that type of position.
Got it. Earlier, you said that you were investing or using your 9 to 5 income or even your side hustle income to invest in other areas like real estate. So tell me more about what you do in real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a multifamily unit on Ohio that's rented out, but I literally, probably an hour ago, I just talked to a realtor about buying a multifamily unit in Ohio again. So the goal is I would like to have an apartment complex, but obviously I just have to have the right deal. So just talking through those conversations. And again, real estate takes money. So the goal is to just have more doors where I feel like I have a sufficient amount of passive income that can cover at least some of my day-to-day bills. And I'm also very, very different. I've been to the period where I was sacrificing and I wasn't spending money. I'm at the point in my life where I don't really want to downgrade much in my life to be able to reach certain goals. So I'll create additional streams of income so I can live a certain lifestyle.
How many units do you have now?
I just have 2 doors now.
Got it.
And the goal is I would love to get 5 doors this year, but nothing's piqued my interest. So my realtor regularly sends me different leads and things like that.
Earlier, you said that you paid off your debt a few years back, right? But can you tell me about, the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome when it comes to money?
Yeah, for sure. So I got to a point, even when I was paying off my debt, and I used to teach people as a financial coach, is that most people don't have enough money to pay off their debt. You need additional stream of income. Thinking that you want to drastically change your lifestyle, have this really crazy budget just to pay off debt, I just don't think that's a way of life. I would much rather people focus on increasing their monthly cash flow to pay off debt where it's not completely changing every aspect within their life. I know a lot of people are Dave Ramsey fans and they tell you not to do certain things in your lifestyle. Me personally, I recommend you just figure out how you can add an additional stream of income. I've personally always had at least 2 streams of income for probably the last 10 years or so. Because again, I didn't want to drastically change my lifestyle. I wanted to still be able to afford to go on vacations, being able to buy things here and there. But I also was disciplined enough to be able to put money towards savings, to put money towards investing into the stock market and things like that.
You're an investor, a real estate investor, you invest in the stock market, which is passive. You have your agency, you have a 9 to 5. Most people are thinking, hey, I don't have enough time to even do anything outside of my job. Talk to me about kind of like the processes that you have in place so that you can do it all.
Yeah, anybody that says they don't have enough time, I think it's an excuse. And you make time for things that you want to do. So when people tell me that they don't have enough time, I then ask them, how many hours a day are you watching TV? How many hours a day are you doing things that are non-productive? Because you have time, you're just not making time for the things that you really want. And I always challenge people, how bad do you want it? And I've said this on podcasts before too. Like, I do all of these things. It's not necessarily that I enjoy everything that I do. I enjoy the outcomes and I enjoy what my future is going to look like. Temporary sacrifices now so I can get a certain result in the future. Let me just say that I recommend people create a routine. You have to be disciplined. You always have to make sacrifices for things that you want. You're either sacrificing time or money. Usually it's time or money. So I was willing to sacrifice time and money for a period of time to be able to pay off my debt, meaning that I stopped getting my nails done regularly. I stopped doing beauty maintenances on a regular basis so I can put that money towards debt. And also, I sacrificed time where I wasn't able to do fun things because I got a second stream of income. I got a third stream of income. People have to figure out how bad they want it and also create a routine. I wake up at 5 a.m. because I'm able to be productive where most of the world is still asleep. So I'm able to knock out half of my competition just by waking up earlier. If people shift their mindset to realize that, one, the bar is very low to be successful. All you have to do is be consistent and do what other people are not doing. So if you're consistent, if you execute on the knowledge that's provided to you, you can really reach a lot of your goals.
Besides waking up at 5, I know that your days are probably not the same every day, right? But what does like a typical day look like?
Well, yeah, luckily for me, I have a team and I'm now able to delegate. So on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, my assistants know what my goals are. We know what Annalisa is reaching for from a business perspective, from a personal perspective. We know that. I try to move away from social media as much as possible and just have my social media assistant handle that. It'll be certain days on the week I'm like, I'm not getting on social media today. I need you to be able to assist and handle everything. And I just put boundaries on certain things. Certain times of day, I won't look at my email so that I'm putting more things that I need to complete at the beginning of the day so I can knock those things out. I think people need to have a routine. If you don't want to wake up early, you still need to have a to-do list. You need to know what your weekly goals are, your monthly goals are, your quarterly goals, just so you can have something to track. A lot of people don't even know what they want out of life. So I always challenge people, what do you want to do? What type of results do you want from life? I don't want to hear just, I want to make a lot of money. Why do you want to make a lot of money? What are you going to use that money for? Not enough people know their why. So anytime people are going through some type of journey, I challenge them to figure out, what's your why? Why are you doing what you want to do? And then what is that number? What is it amount that you're reaching towards?
I love that. I think being clear on what you're working towards, why you're working towards it, and actually writing things down makes a huge difference. Because you can sit here and daydream all day. But when you start writing things down, you are signaling to your brain like, okay, this is what I'm working towards. And then you can create a plan. But you can't create a plan just off of just ideas that are randomly popping in and out of your mind every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I completely agree. And I think that's the hard part because people have to do mindset work before they can reach a certain goal. And it's a lot of stuff that we have to unlearn. People can't believe that people aren't making $10,000 a month. People can't believe that people have made $10,000 in one day. They immediately think somebody's scamming or they're lying, but it's hard for you to think that you can have more without mentally feeling like you can have more.
Tell me about some of the things that you had to unlearn over the years.
Well, one, discovering what a lot of money is and just realizing that I can accomplish so much. So last year was my first 5-figure day in business. And I didn't think that was possible 5 years ago, but I started to see my clients be able to do that. I started to see people around me be able to achieve those goals. Then I'm thinking if they can do it, then I can absolutely do it. The two major things is one, that it's no point of over saving. Saving is no reason to hoard money. It's better to put it in vehicles to make you more money, especially more passive income. That was the biggest thing because I just used to be an avid saver growing up. And then also that it's so many different ways to make money out here. So many different ways for people to monetize their skill set. And I didn't realize that, the virtual assistant space being one. I didn't realize people were paying you for a service to be able to take things off their plate. I learned that very, very quickly. That helped me to be able to scale, but I didn't realize that people were willing to pay for a service like that. And just being able to create an online service business was very, very new to me prior to 2 years ago.
You said something very interesting just now. So many different ways to make money. This is something that I learned in recent years. It's like too many ways to make money. And I think sometimes because you see this person do that and that person, you want to try everything. So it's very important to be clear on what your skill set is and look for ways to make money based on that, not because of someone else's results.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For anyone who might be interested in looking into becoming a virtual assistant, whether it's doing it as a full-time job or a side hustle, what kind of skills or qualities should someone have to think about becoming a virtual assistant?
Yeah, I would say you need to be organized and be proactive. Most people already actually have the skill set to be a virtual assistant. You're sending a lot of emails, you're managing calendars, you're responding to certain requests. Most of these things you probably already do with your 9 to 5. So now it's just getting to the mindset that I have an online business, I have a virtual assistant business. Also being aware that you do have to market your business and let people know that you actually have a functioning business. That will probably be the hardest thing. But most people actually have transferable skills where they can start making money now as a virtual assistant.
As far as like marketing, how do you market your virtual assistant business?
I'm super, super grateful because I haven't had to do any paid marketing for Elevated Assist. All of it is organic. So it either comes from word of mouth because most entrepreneurs hang out with other entrepreneurs. And then also it's Instagram. Every time I ask people how they found me, it's either the Business Insider article, which Business Insider reached out to me and they've bought me a lot of traffic, which is great. But prior to that, it was Instagram. People said, I found you on Instagram. So there are people and business owners out there looking for virtual assistants, but you have to brand yourself as a virtual assistant. You have to look like you own a business. You have a fully functioning operating business before so.
Give me actionable steps that people can take today to make more money while also balancing their full-time job.
Absolutely. So the first thing you need to do, whether you want to start a virtual assistant business or any other type of online business, is take a look at the competition, evaluate who are your competitors, see what they're doing. It's no reason for you to try to recreate the wheel. There's other people that are already making money and you have the skill set, duplicate what they do. Do your research, make sure you understand what you're signing up for and you can actually do the work. And also be sure to price yourself fairly. It takes people a long time to get to 5 figures a month because they're lowballing themselves because they feel like because they're new to business that they have to have low prices. No, you might be new to business, but you may not be new to this actual work. So price yourself accordingly to your skill set and the work you're able to provide and the value you're able to provide for different businesses and clients.
Love that. I always end the interview with a round of rapid fire questions.
Ooh, let's go.
Just tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Tell me about a book that changed your perspective on life.
Ooh, that's easy. Think, Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Completely changed my life on mindset and how I think about money and how I think about my goals and what I can achieve.
Did you read the original version or the Black Choice version?
I've read both of them before. Both of them top books.
What's one life lesson you learned the hard way?
One life lesson I learned the hard way is that fear and not being willing to be uncomfortable will keep you in the same position. On the other side of being uncomfortable is growth. I realized very quickly that you cannot grow unless you're uncomfortable.
What's one thing about money you wish you could tell your younger self?
Ooh, one thing about money that I wish I can tell my younger self is that you have the resources you needed to start a business. If I would have started my business when I was like 18 or 19, it would have been in such a different space today. I would have learned so much. So I would just say that you don't necessarily need a lot of money to make money either. Yes, there are some businesses that require a lot of upfront capital, but every business does not require a lot of upfront capital.
What's the best investment in yourself you've made so far?
Books, reading and investing in knowledge, whether it was a course or a book, just going through a period of isolation. If I didn't go through that period of isolation to just focusing on my goals, I would not be where I am right now.
Filling the blank in 3 words or less. Money to me is
a tool.
What do you want your legacy to be?
I want people to remember me as someone who was just an executor, who had an idea, executed, and then also someone who was willing to inspire others and help people to get to where they wanted to be.
Right. Well, Annalisa, thank you so much for coming on the show, dropping gems. Please tell the dreamers where to find you.
So you can find me at www.justannalisa.com or on Instagram at justannalisa, JUSTANNALISA. Or if you're looking to hire a virtual assistant or a social media manager, connect with us at www.elevatedassist.com, or you can reach us on our Instagram page at Elevated Assist. We're currently accepting clients until the end of the year, so we look forward to working with you.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.